Bob Navarro is joining us today, and he is the president and CEO of the Heritage Corridor Convention and Visitors Bureau. One of the partners one of the important partners in the Illinois and Michigan Canal National Heritage Area. And so he's agreed to be interviewed. So thanks for joining us, Bob. And just wanted to start and have you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with the CVB and what you did before, just so for people who don't know you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm just thrilled that so many people are interested in not only what I'm doing, but what our organization does for our partners. So thank you for having me. I've been with the Heritage Corridor since June of 2006. I came to the organization as their president and CEO. My background is actually in higher education. I actually have a PhD in higher education administration from Illinois State University. So I worked several years for the university before trying some different jobs up this way, which led me to this position. But the job previous to this one, I opened up University Center, which was a residence hall for Columbia, Roosevelt, and DePaul students in downtown Chicago, right on State and Congress. And so I was their first employee. When I was hired, we had to wear hard hats to work, and we opened that building. So that was really exciting to be part of an opening team. And from that, part of my responsibility there was to run what they called Conference Chicago, which we had meeting space, AV, dining, housing for conferences and meetings year round. And from there, I went to an Illinois tourism conference, met the folks at Heritage Corridor. They said they had a job open, and I was originally from Joliet, so I sent in my information. And to make a long story short, one thing led to another, and here I am. So a little bit about me personally. Like I said, I have a PhD from Illinois State University, so I'm actually on their board of trustees. I was appointed by the governor to be on the board of trustees for Illinois State University in May of 2019. So I'm in my first term with them. I'm on a lot of little local boards for the high school district and the Rialto and different places. Personally, I started running in 2009 and I've run 25 marathons, full marathons, and Quad Cities, Las Vegas, Paris, Chicago. Disney was my very first marathon. But I literally ran into some health issues in January 2018. And so I quit running because of those health issues. And in late 2019, I actually had 4 brain surgeries. I had a brain tumor removed. So I'm prepping for a comeback. I'm training for the Chicago Marathon in October of 2021. So I actually am trying to build up my stamina and get out there and get those miles in. So that's just a little bit about me, and I appreciate everyone's interest in here and me.
Well, thanks. I, as I recall, the your organization, the Heritage Corridor CVB, started in 1984, right after the designation of the I&M Canal National Heritage Area. And so, but will you talk a little bit about the organization, what it does now, kind of what some of your major initiatives are?
Absolutely. So the as you mentioned, we were certified back in 1984, meaning that we were state certified and able to apply for and receive a state tourism grant. And we've been receiving that grant consistently since 1984. Our general mission has pretty much stayed about the same, although our geographic boundaries have changed a little bit. So when we first started, we were Joliet area, then we were Will County, and then we added Grundy and LaSalle counties, and then Putnam, and our most recent counties joined us about 2 years, no, about 4 years ago. We added Bureau and Livingston counties. So we're actually 6 counties. We're a true regional bureau. Our mission is stay pretty much the same in that time, in the fact that the mission is to ignite, influence, and impact visitor experience through tourism partnerships. So it's all about partnerships and trying to work with our, our our member organizations, our municipality partners, with our state tourism entities, and trying to um, leverage those partnerships. Our When we talk about our region, we certainly have the I&M Canal National Heritage Corridor in our area, but then our boundaries go a little bit further, and we encompass the entire Star Rock area. and then what we're calling the first 100 miles of Route 66. So we cover from just outside Chicago to Pontiac on Route 66. So our three really brand pillars, the three things that we spend the most time promoting would be the first 100 miles of 66, Starved Rock State Park area, and then the Einem Canal towns. And that's what our three products are that we spend the most time promoting. But the organization, we like as I said before, we work with our partners, extending their marketing reach, offering them marketing experience or expertise. We try to make connections and network for our partners, and then try to jump into that tourism developments and both be advisors and at the table when there's opportunities for new development within the region. Our board is currently working with a company on our doing a brand assessment. We're working with Graham Spencer, and they're kind of in the middle of their process. But up till now, they've surveyed stakeholders, members. Some of you on the call have been interviewed. They've also interviewed visitors. They've interviewed board members, partners, and then they took a look at all of our brand materials, like our advertising campaigns, our literature. They compared it to other entities, and we're getting ready for a presentation with them next week. They're going to be presenting to the board next week what they found out. We're small but mighty staff. We have 4 full-time staff and 3 part-time staff. One of my part-timers has been with me 28 years. She actually works at our visitor center out in Utica, what we call the Four Corners, kitty corner from the Casey's there. So we actually staff a visitor center there that's currently open Friday through Monday. And then here in our Joliet office, that's where I primarily work out of, we have a full-time marketing manager, a full-time marketing assistant, and then a full-time tourism manager. So small staff, but they work pretty hard for our members and partners. And then we bring in interns as appropriate. We've had interns from U of I, from Roosevelt, from Joliet, University of St. Francis, Lewis. It just depends on the year where our interns come to us from. Let's see, what else? Just like you mentioned, our organization, everyone reports to somebody, and I report to a board. And so our board governs our organization, and they are represented from municipalities, our partners, lodging, attractions, just a variety of locations. Our current officers come from, let's see, Village of Lamont, Starved Rock Lodge, Morris Downtown Development, and then the Joliet Area Historical Museum. That's where our 4 officers represent. Want me to talk a little bit about our scope of work, or you want to stop there?
Well, I don't know. I think people are don't necessarily know how we all are funded. So you want to talk maybe a little bit about the state of Illinois and funding and how kind of tourism funding works?
All the fun topics. So, Canal Corridor is funded mostly through a federal opportunity through the National Park Service, where we're primarily funded from Illinois Office of Tourism DCEO grant. So we get a majority of our funding from DCEO. All of our grants, though, just like your grants, need to be matched with local funds. And so that's where we rely on our members and our partners and our municipalities to invest and partner with us financially. But we have a pretty good relationship with the Illinois Office of Tourism. We try to bring them out to our area as much as possible. And the state grant actually comes from a portion of the state hotel tax that's collected. So if any of you have stayed in a hotel, you're paying usually a local tax and a state tax here in Illinois. And sometimes that local tax is to a county, and sometimes it's to a local municipality. And then you're paying state tax that goes to the state coffers. And the state tax that's collected actually funds a variety of programs, not just tourism. It funds the state fairs and the scenic byways and a variety of DCEO initiatives. So we get a small percentage of that state hotel tax that's collected, and we match it, like I said, with local investment from our partners. There's actually 38 bureaus in the state of Illinois that receive some of that state hotel tax. And there's been a variety of tourism grants. Traditionally, if you look at the trends over the last, 10 years, there's been our bureau grants. There's also an international grant, a marketing grant. There's a tourism attraction program, and then a private sector grant for events. This year and last year, obviously an unusual year because of the pandemic. So most of those grants are not being offered. Our local tourism grant was offered last year and this year, although we did see a reduction in funding, but they did continue to fund the local Convention and Tourism Bureau. So we're thrilled about that. We just didn't get our international grant money to promote what we would normally be promoting with Route 66 with those grant funds. But yeah, we're funded primarily through a grant from the state that needs to be matched with local funds.
So, so let's shift a little bit here and talk about the people who are coming to visit us. So what do you know about our visitors who are coming? Where are they coming from? Who are they? Kind of give us the lowdown on what you know about them.
First of all, I'm glad there's not a lot of questions in the chat here, so that's good. But for visitors that are coming, I can tell you that we primarily focus our marketing efforts to the Chicagoland area. With our limited dollars that we have, we try to focus into that Chicagoland region. And when we do that, there's three general markets that we go after, and that's families, suburban style, and then what we call young cities soloists. So with families, they're usually an affluent family, middle age. They have a average household income of anywhere between 135 and 150,000, aged between 36 and 45, and they usually have children and have some sort of college degree. So that's the family target that we go after, and so we feel that that's the group that is actually coming to the area. Our suburban style market are usually, again, middle-aged, might be more ethnically diverse couples. The income is about the same. They usually are homeowners, usually have children that are at least 4 years of age or greater, and then also have some sort of college degree. And then the third market that we spend our time trying to reach are the younger, single, active, energetic lifestyle individuals. So they're usually coming to us. They might be commuters, or they might even own their own cars. Their their household income is a little bit lower. It's usually between 75,000 and 100,000 because it's not a combined income. Most of those are singles and they don't have children, and they might be either working on a bachelor's degree or just obtain their bachelor's degree. So those are the three markets that we feel are coming to our area. They're coming to our canal towns. They're doing our outdoor adventure. They're going to our breweries and our wineries and doing our outside activities. We have worked with some of our partners on specific drilling down to meet specific markets that would be more active or more like intergenerational travel. So we've looked at different markets depending on what the campaign is that we're looking at. So it really just depends on how many dollars we have and how far we can drill down in who's coming to the area.
So if you're talking about these as the markets that you feel are I guess the most responsive, and for the limited dollars, these are the markets. With more money, what other markets would you go after? A different geographic area, or kind of what do you think would be the next markets, or where would you go if you had more money?
If I had more money, that's $1 million question. But if we had more money, we'd actually kind of just expand it out, make it more regional, and make it more of maybe a 6-hour drive from the area. We know that with here in Illinois, we would try to maybe hit Springfield or Champaign. In Indiana, we might hit Indianapolis, Michigan, certainly Detroit or Grand Rapids. Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Madison, that kind of thing. So I would kind of take our area and do a circle that would be a 6-mile drive. We're ideal area for road trips, for that traveler that wants to experience that local culture. And right now, that's what's hot. I know we might talk a little bit about the pandemic later, but that's what people want. They don't want the big city. They don't want the big crowds. They want to travel in their own bubble, and we are ideally positioned to help them do that with our canal towns, with our scenic byways, and with our outdoor recreation opportunities. And really, we have year-round outdoor recreation opportunities. So if I had more money, I would take our little geographic area and maybe draw like a 6-hour drive, because I think that we could really offer a lot to some of those other markets in those other states, and let them know what we have, that we're, southwest of Chicago, and we're really a drive market. Being able to get to us from either 80 or 55 or 39 is really important.
So can you just talk a little bit about, I know we had a little bit of discussion via email about, how many people are coming and how neither one of us really, neither organization has a really good way of measuring that without collecting from each individual site. Um, but um, so how do we, I guess, as a region, I mean, how many dollars are being spent here, how many hotel nights. So how do you kind of measure that return on investment?
Well, we work pretty closely with Illinois Office of Tourism and U.S. Travel, and they do an annual study, and they release what we call the tourism economic impact numbers every they release them every year. They're usually in the summer, July, August. They usually lead with international numbers first and then domestic numbers, and then we combine them. So we know from, and they use a service called DK Shiplet, which is a national researcher on economic impact. And so we know from Illinois Office of Tourism and US Travel, we know where our 6 counties rank in comparison to the other counties in Illinois. So when you look at our 6 counties, Will County is actually ranked 4th in tourism expenditures. And so that's pretty impressive that of all the counties in Illinois, we have one of the counties that are in the top 5. And then if you add up all 6 of my counties, travel expenditures generate about over $1.1 billion of economic impact to Illinois. So you're looking at the 6 counties of Will, LaSalle, Grundy, Bureau, Livingston, and Putnam. And so the other numbers that research gives us is not just travel expenditures, what visitors are spending, but they also tell us estimated number of people that are in the travel industry. And so for our 6-county region, we have over 9,500 employees that are connected to the travel industry, generating over $281 million in payroll for the tourism industry. Then it goes on to break it down into taxes that are collected or affected by the industry, and they break it down into state and local taxes. So they're not just looking at the hotel tax that's collected, they're looking at food and beverage sales, they're looking at gas taxes, they're looking at all of those taxes that are generated as part of our industry. And if you look at our 6 counties for state of Illinois, we had, these most recent numbers were for 2019, by the way, but in 2019, we had over $68 million generated to our local municipalities, or 68 million to the state hotels or state taxes, but then on the local side, it was 26 million. So I think that, certainly tourism is big business, and it's certainly big for our area, and the fact that we are generating so much in travel expenditures, generating employees, as well as state and local hotel taxes. So that's one way that we measure. We kind of watch that trend. I've been here since 2006, so we've been watching that data since then. But we always kind of see where our different counties fall in relationship to the other counties in Illinois, which ones have gone up and down. Obviously, these most recent numbers are from 2019. We do not expect the 2020 numbers are going to be so great.
We're going to forget 2020.
We are going to forget 2020.
Yeah.
But it will be important to see where our area falls in relation to the other counties, because especially in Chicagoland, places like DuPage County or downtown Chicago didn't see, they have a greater volume of rooms, but their ADR and their hotel occupancy fell dramatically in 2020, where our hotel occupancy stayed at like 62, 64%. We're a little bit further from Chicago. People were still traveling in their own bubble. We're more of a leisure area. We don't have as many large meeting or convention spaces. So I think that kind of helped our area even in 2020. It wasn't a great year. Don't get me wrong, not a great year, but it was pretty good.
So many of the people that are part of this call today represent visitor-oriented sites. So if you could ask us to do things that we're not doing now, or are there things that you wish some of the sites would do that would lead to more tourism?
Interesting. Yeah, I do think that I think it's important for our that would lead to more tourism. Let's see. I think overall we need more ticketed attractions. I think that our area offers a lot of good value where things are free or that we just accept donations for it, things like that. But I think if we can ticket the attractions, you can always discount it later or give free passes. But the more ticketed attractions are, the more we can package that and work with our hotel partners or other partners to package that that type of offering. So even if it's $10 or $20, you can then offer that as a greater value. So I think more ticketed attractions instead of just saying, oh, things are free or we just accept a donation. I think that would certainly help the area. I think what you're doing with the bike rental program is great. Certainly expanding that, that's definitely going to meet a need. And certainly what Janae's doing with Kayak Morris, having that in different communities, that's going to be great for our area and offering those outdoor recreational opportunities. I think we need more multi-day events or festivals. I think there's a lot of programs that are, an afternoon, 12 to 5 or 12 to 6. And we really need to expand that to, a Friday or a Sunday and maybe package different experiences together to make it more of a weekend, give people a reason to stay all night and not just to drive in for that afternoon program and then leave. And so, I'm not necessarily saying that one entity needs to take care of all 3 days, but partner with the other entities in the region to offer that festival. Maybe one group is taking the activities that are happening Friday night, another group is taking the stuff that's happening, Saturday night, but then another group is doing Saturday during the day and Sunday during the day or something like that. But I really think we need to take a better look at our planning and how we're offering these multi-day festivals. And I think that would help the area as well. What's interesting about our area, because we're primarily leisure, is the fact that for Starved Rock area, they don't need the help on the weekends. Their occupancy is much higher on the weekends, and we really need that help Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So having more hours and consistent hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and more experiences Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will help make that happen. But at the eastern end of the quarter, like our Route 66 communities, we're busier on Monday, Tuesday because people are starting to leave the city and they're going to start their Route 66 route. And so we're busier Monday, Tuesday. So I'd say the same thing to them. Don't think about closing on Monday. Close on a Wednesday if you needed to. But I do think we need to look at consistency of hours, of operation with our attractions and our businesses. And then the other thing I'd like to see if I, could make it work is if we had businesses that supported the activities. So, we'd have these outdoor recreation opportunities, whether it's kayaking or biking or hiking. I'd like to see more stores that offer those supplies. I don't want people to have to go into Schaumburg or Woodfield, to buy their hiking gear, go down to Peoria to get their kayaks and things. I'd rather have those stores here in our area, because I think that if people can come here for those experiences and also buy the supplies and the product that goes with that, they're more likely to see this area as that type of destination, whether that's product or food or whatever that might be. So yeah, I certainly have a wish list, but people are doing a great job. They're doing a great job, and I think that the more we offer, the stronger the area is.
Well, I think what you're talking about is just really partnerships, and certainly, partnerships in marketing and the ticketing of the attractions. I think, a lot of things are free, but you can do a guided tour or other kinds of things that does have a ticket price, so that then it becomes part of the package. So I think that makes total sense. So I think those are some really good ideas. And I think, a lot of times when you're running your own little place, you don't necessarily think of the larger picture. And so I think that's important to kind of talk about so you understand kind of where you fit in. So you haven't really talked very much about lodging, and I know it wasn't on my original list, but what do you see as the trends? Do you think we have enough lodging in the area? Do we have them in the right places?
Well,
Um,
pre-pandemic, I would have said we need more full service hotels. We need more hotels that have that, that spa experience, that restaurant, that dining, that kind of thing. But that's not what's doing well right now. Right now, our efficiency hotels and lodging properties are doing well, and we certainly have enough of those up and down the corridor and within the region. Lodging wise, people like things that are unique. When we deal with our, whether they're the international travel, or even like travel influencers or travel writers or whoever some of the PR angles might be, they're always looking for something that is unique, has a story, a property that might have existed for a long time, or you know that has some sort of story behind it, and less of that efficiency property. So we certainly have a mix, but I would say pre-pandemic, we were not where I was hoping we would be with full service hotels, but now I think that's a blessing for us. So I'm gonna hold on saying we need more full service, but I think eventually, to compete with places like Tinley Park or Oak Brook, I think eventually we need more meeting and convention space, and then full service hotels that support that type of product.
so I'll ask one more question and then we can open it up. We haven't talked at all about groups. What do you think's going to happen with groups, and kind of how do you deal with that?
Yeah, groups are the traditional motor coach groups that would travel together. I think in the past we were seeing motor coaches creep into that 56, 58 passenger group. I think that I think groups will come back, but I think the groups will be smaller. I think you'll see 20 and 30 people in the group. We just sent Kate to a trade show, Circle Wisconsin, the last couple of days. She was there with a rep from Starved Rock, and a half dozen other people here from Illinois. And what she came back from that is what I kind of mentioned earlier. Our area is perfectly positioned well, people want outdoor recreation, they want smaller towns, they don't want that urban experience, they want to travel in their smaller groups. And so there was a lot of interest in our Starved Rock area, in our canal towns, in shopping, dining. Some of them said, well, even putting together mystery tours. They were asking about the history of the canal area and architecture. So I think that as groups start to rebound, as that group market starts to rebound, I think that our area will benefit from that because of the product that we have. I think that makes a lot of sense, that people are going to come to us more so than they would an area like downtown Chicago or Oak Brook or Woodfield kind of thing.
At least in the next 4 or 5 years.
Exactly. Well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, in the next 2 years, 3 years.
So, well, I'd like to open it up to any other questions. Erin, are you reading the chat there, or
Yeah, there's a couple of questions.
Yeah.
A couple of questions in the chat here. So we got a question, and anybody else who has questions, please feel free to type in some good ones for Bob here. So one question is, how are you approaching the new demographics you want to get?
How are we approaching them? Well, I think somebody else asked this as well, but our main flagship marketing options has traditionally been our website, as well as our printed travel guide. Last year, or the last few years, we've actually printed one guide with 3 different covers, and one's been a canal cover. I'm trying to show this in the screen here, but it's not working. So there's the canal cover. Then we had a Route 66 cover, and then a Starved Rock area cover. These guides the last couple of guides were over 160 pages. And so what we decided to do this year is to actually do 3 smaller guides. And so each guide is going to be tailored to that product. And we The first guide came out in January, and it was travel Einem Canal Towns. It was about, I don't know, 60 some pages. And we have less than 6,000 of those left. And I'm just shocked at how those have flown off the shelves. Our next guide that we're going to do is our Route 66 guide, and then we'll follow up a couple months after that with the Starved Rock area. We're doing a lot of social media and digital advertising. We work with some of the state partners. The state does some advertising. We work with some of those partners to do some of our co-op buys through some of their agencies to try to leverage our dollars. And so we've worked with Adara and Meredith and AAA and different locations like that to try to just generate interest and inspire people to come to the area based on what we have to offer in those three pillars, the Starved Rock area, the Canal Towns, and the Route 66.
Another question is, would you share the link to the tourism report? Is that something you can share?
Yes, I can do that. Do you need that now, or can I send that to you, Aaron? You get it out to people? How do you want me
Why
to
don't
do
you send it to me and I'll get it out in a
Okay.
follow-up email tomorrow?
Because I have a one-page sheet that has those tourism stats on it. And it is pretty interesting because I broke it down by counties, and then I compare it to the state of Illinois too. So I'll just send you the sheet, and feel free to send it out to everyone.
Perfect, thank you.
The more people that know about the importance of tourism, the better.
Yep. All right. We got a quick question about last time I visited the Heritage Corridor was 2017 at the new site for the turntable bridge structure. What's new since then? Can you answer that in 30 seconds or less?
I'm not sure where the turntable bridge structure
I
is.
think that's the Chicago Bridge House Museum.
Oh, okay. What is new since then? Well, gosh, we've got, I think the hottest, newest attraction in our canal towns would be the Forge, which is the outdoor adventure park in Lamont. They opened up during the pandemic, had a pretty good year last year, and we're bracing for an even better year this year. So I would say the Forge in Lamont is the outdoor adventure park. If you haven't checked it out, look at it. There's kayaking, there's zip lining. They did dining all year round, even in the winter months. So yeah, check out the Forge in Lamont.
Another question is, although people are still staying at hotels, but lacking, there has been a boom in RVing due to the pandemic. Do you see that as a good thing or a bust financially?
There is certainly a boom in RVing. That is definitely true. I think it's good. Certainly, it's not going to generate as much impact as if people stayed in our hotels. But if people are coming to the area, they're still going to buy pop water and gas. And so it's really important that we offer them those experiences where we want them to park their RVs in our area. So I think it's good if that's how people are comfortable traveling, and that's how the people are going to get back into getting out and about. I think it's good. I'm not sure, when you look at the average length of time, length that people own RVs, it's not, 20 years, 10 years. It's usually anywhere in that 3 to 5 year mark. So hopefully we've offered them some good experiences that after they no longer own that RV, they're willing to come back and stay in our hotels. But yeah, I overall, it's good. It's not as much financial impact as if they stayed in the hotels, but it is still good for the area.
All right, we had another question about CVB travel guides. I think you covered that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The other question is, do local festivals attract tourists from other locations?
Absolutely. Just to use the Ottawa Wine Festival for an example, we were the primary marketing arm for the Ottawa Two Rivers Wine Fest. And when they would do Wine Lobster Jazz, we did all of our advertising into the Chicago market. And then a rep from the city and we would survey those that actually came to the festival. And we knew about 85 to 90%, depending on the year and depending on the day, were actually coming from out of the area. They were coming to us from Chicago or Indiana, West Indiana, and different locations where we were placing the marketing. So we do know people were coming in from out of towns. Plus, we could look at hotel occupancy and see that the hotels in the surrounding area were booked. Same when we had events at NASCAR or the Route 66 Raceway and things like that. We could see the compression in the hotels and how far out those went when those bigger events were happening. So yes, festivals do attract visitors from outside the area.
Uh-oh. Question, I noticed recently that hotels are marketing more and more about their proximity to natural areas. Is this a trend you think will stick?
It's certainly going to help us rebound in the travel market. That people are wanting that outdoor experience. They want that, to have that smaller bubble, to have those outdoor natural year-round experiences. So we're hoping that will stick longer for our area, but it's certainly good for us in this next 3 to 5 year period. We have what people are looking for right now, what they feel safe doing right now. We have those experiences, and so offering those, that hiking, that biking, that tour is going to be really great for our area and for our visitors.
All right. Well, I think that's all of our questions. So you can take a breath now, Bob, and great
Wow,
job. Thank you.
the seat's hotter than I thought.